And we're live.
Hey, yo, you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Where is Joe Amato? Where is Tyler T-Rex Baker? And where Nathan Kennedy? Those punks can't even get in the building. Fans of
You know what, James?
Oh.
If they're not with us, they're against us.
Damn right. You want to go to war? You want a war? You swear your allegiance to the FOP? Then we're good.
Come out and play, boys.
I have to. I didn't do the camera thing. I got my shirt on. I promise. Please don't hurt us. But by the way, we've been here the whole time, James. While you've been cutting your promo.
Oh. Well, I can stop doing the offensive voice now and get back to using my cue to call.
So the community.
Yes, we'll have to join you.
There's a new faction in town here, people. We have brought over others to support our cause and just enjoy pissing off the community to no end.
Yeah, just
Right there.
look at that. Because smoking is cool. Get me
Bringing it back.
Is that the first time we've had smoking on a He-Man podcast? It might be, huh? Danielle, such a rebel.
I don't think anybody
I
in the
might have to
NWO.
take the glasses off because I actually can't see much without them. So
You're killing the machismo there, James.
oh, not here then.
He's like, I can't see. Where are my contact lenses?
I can't
Son of a
see
bitch. God damn it.
Where's everybody?
Hey, this is a nice T-shirt, Joe.
Oh, it's not.
Thank you. Look good. They look good on you guys.
Mine was a lot looser, and we've entered lockdown 2 over here, so it's slightly getting a bit tight around the just below the FOP.
An extra 20? Another 20 pounds, James? Is that what you got on you?
Yeah, can you get me XXX large, or it's just like a moo-moo? That'll do fine.
Oh, shoot. So, Nathan, what's up? We're all live. Everything's all good and streaming, right?
As far as I'm concerned, and I want to stress this early on in the stream that I apologize. It's a Skype thing. It's not me. That if someone's audio is out of sync and their lips are not matching what they're saying, it's just you get this many people in here. That's what's gonna happen. There we go.
James the whole time over his lips.
And Joe, I think you freaked some people out in the chat for a second when you pulled your mask off because they were probably like, "Oh my God, it's happening."
They thought the mask actually came out. They go, "Oh shit!" Now there you go. Had to represent the new mask for this special episode.
Very cool. I like it.
Thank you.
Looks
I
like
gotta find
something-
the chat now. I gotta still click. Yeah, because I didn't have the screen up for in the chat room to see who is even here right now. But hey, well now I see some people. Let me say hello to people before we get started though, and then we can do our ramblings. But we got DJ Tags, JSP, Zentron, Daniel Carhoonan, Grimbot is here.
Of course.
Rick Poe, Michael. I think I said Michael Purvis, and Fedmon, and Descendants of Grayskull, and Aaron Voorhees just hit us. So again, thank you all for joining us. And this is an earlier time because we have James. He's across the world, a whole different time zone. So we didn't want to have him like at 3 a.m? Is that what it would have been or something if it was our?
Yeah. But that's not always the worst problem. It's like I am quite the night owl, but at 3 a.m. I probably will be functioning at like 50%, as opposed to my usual 60%. So we'll see.
We didn't want to cut into the drinking time for James either because that's like prime drinking hours. See, the longer this goes, I can't promise you that like
Wow.
James will get us kicked off of YouTube. We'll start taking his clothes off or something. I don't know.
I nearly flipped the bird, and then I thought if I do that, is that like a weird YouTube flag algorithm thing where it's like someone had one finger on show? It's like, oh man.
I think it's more of a Twitch thing if you start showing skin. YouTube might be okay.
Oh, so if I was like, oh hi,
Oh man, look at that! Look at that!
And James's rug of love.
Yeah.
Imagine us getting booted for that. Wouldn't it be crazy? Just boom, we get popped right off just for
Yeah, they'll
that.
say we definitely saw cleavage. I'm like, easy.
Shoot. Well, I was gonna say before we get into, we have a lot of different random topics, but I have one that I want to shoot since, well, we're kind of doing an outsiders thing here, and I do want to hit James and Danielle with this. Here's something to you, and either you can go first. But let's say you were chosen to come in to Mattel, take over as an outsider, take over for the new Origins line we're doing right now, and the comics. My question to you is, not changing the scale, but if there's anything else, details, whether it's articulation, whether it's the lineup, different characters, what would either of you do for the Origins line when it comes to a different lineup, changing up the figures or something else to it? And if you were to write mini comics, what would you like to see done with mini comics for this Origins line? So either you can start, but I'd like to hear your opinions.
Please go first.
James is going to have a heart attack, so we might have to go to Danielle first, because James looks like he's ready to pass out right there.
Well, if I were gonna come in to Mattel and take over that line, I mean, I would cancel the line, and then B, bring back the vintage line and classics. So that's basically what.
Not a fan of the Origins, huh, Danielle?
One thing I would definitely do is with the mini comics, like the current mini comics they have are so short, and they're so, it's almost insulting that they remove the dialogue from the mini comics for European release, because it's like they won't even hire a translator to translate the existing story so people can read it. It's just like a blank word balloon. It's like, wow, you can't, your big Fortune 500 company can't pay a translator to translate the comics into other languages. I would also add add more pages and tell like a kind of a more substantial story there, because it's just, there's barely any story in those because they're so short, right? So I would, look to the vintage mini comics where you had like stories where, an adventure story, like a short, like hero's journey kind of thing, or a Clash of Arms where you have to fight the different warriors and have something that's a little more substantial. Origins has really good, the box art is really good that Axel and Nate are doing, like the Castle Grayskull box art are doing. But what they need to do, I would bring in like actual sculptors, like the Four Horsemen, who everybody loves the Four Horsemen. They're like synonymous with Masters of the Universe. Instead of designing these figures on a computer, which it looks like that's what they're doing, bring in like, that's part of the spirit, right, of the vintage line and 2000X, where they reimagine these amazing characters. And the vintage line, you had these artists and designers and sculptors. Bring in like people that have a passion for fantasy and sword and sorcery and all of that kind of speculative fiction, like Mark Taylor did. He loved that stuff. So those kinds of people to really hand sculpt the stuff. And then like for the character selection, I would bring in like, don't just do like all the famous characters, throw in like a strong arm, or throw in a shadow weaver, or something that's kind of like we didn't get in the vintage line, that to kind of, because kids, these are for kids. I mean, kids don't know the difference between Zodak and Icer. Okay, so if you mix in a couple of characters like that into a wave, I think that would be more exciting. But yeah, I think bringing in like artists to kind of hand sculpt stuff, I think there's a spirit to that that's kind of lacking from the new ones.
Do you think there's like a little bit of heart and love and passion from, I guess, being just a Masters of the Universe fan, and that's why maybe just something is slightly off with this new line, especially maybe when it comes to heads or some of the designs? Just maybe, like you said, the Four Horsemen have the love, the knowledge. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Now I gotta say, now that I did, all the hype, people saying, there must be something wrong with you if you don't like these figures. So I got one in hand, and now that I have one in my hand here, I have to say, this looks like a baby toy. It looks like something that was made for a little bit. What, you want me to go buy a teething ring too? Or Fisher Price? Little people, you want to see my review of an Origins figure? Absolutely. Happy to oblige. Can you see my beautiful device right here? Hey, when in Rome, right? Isn't that what they say? Well, hey, Skeletor, there you go. There goes Skeletor. Oh, wait, I would never do that to an Origins figure.
Man.
A Masters of the Universe. I would never do that. No, never, not without marinating it first. First, if you're gonna really review an Origins figure, you gotta marinate it first, you know? That's the important part of reviewing an Origin. Don't you think so? Don't you agree, Joe? I
agree.
That's very essential part.
Let's get decapitated, I hope. Send me that piss Skeletor!
Origins wants to look like the vintage line, and it wants to have the articulation of the classics line, but it's so much less than the sum of its parts. But now there are plenty of parts, little parts, right in here in my special review device. And there is my summary of the Origins line.
There we go, that's the best review. Best review I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
James, can you follow up that?
He's like, I'm done.
Oh god.
James?
That was fucking brilliant.
Your thoughts?
I've got no. I can't follow that. Lord, that's the most amazing bit of almost theatre I'd ever seen. That was fantastic, and I loved your reviewing device, the blender. That was.
Evelyn don't have shit on her, man.
Well,
Oh my god!
I love how the figure, like, when you pop the top off and hit it, it just spun out and just landed the way it did. That was perfect. Which, by the way,
little shards of plastic everywhere.
Oh, that's so.
What's his head look like? His head
Oh, look at that! There we go. Skeletor. There, you thought Skeletor's face.
Oh,
I think
I
this is
love
an
it.
improvement.
There's an
There,
improvement there.
You want your Mia expression, because that's what that is. That's why they did that shit. The Mia. Yeah, that's what I think of your Mia.
Danielle, you
God,
please send it to me.
this is
I'm gonna
brilliant.
put it for
I'm
you.
gonna sit back and just shut up the whole time.
That's gonna be piss blendered Skeletor. I'm gonna card him for you, and he's gonna be mint on card. Piss blendered Skeletor for you. Send him to me. Let's do it. Send him.
Got it. Okay.
Oh my God, that's the best review I've ever seen. And yeah, James, I'm not quite sure how to follow up. I don't even know how to finish the show with that.
I was going to say, you just end it there. That was the end it on a
hopeful day.
well, good night, everybody. 15-minute long episode.
Amazing. My thoughts on the Origins line. I've got nothing as controversial as that.
Well, take a shit on it, figure.
No. As a side, sorry, my controversial opinion is apparently that I don't collect them and I'm not really fussed. Apparently, that's controversial enough for certain fans who are like, "Why are you not collecting it?" It's like, because I don't want to. It's like, but why? And it's like, because I don't want to. I don't think they're great. I think the one thing that and I'm sure I'll take crap for this. The one thing that I cannot believe I've seen a few people say, and it's not majority, obviously it's few, who said that Origins is better than Classics. And
holy shit!
Yeah, no. From a sculpting point, I don't even get that at all because Origins is, and I don't even think Mattel would say that. I think you'd probably say Mattel would go, no, these are very simplified versions. These are classics where it's all heavily detailed, and I don't quite get the appeal of the Origins toilet. Like this is the thing, Joe. Sorry, I'm deviating from your question.
Go! I don't care. Go on.
But I think when that toy line was first revealed, or I don't even think it was called Origins, when they did the San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack, and it was He-Man and Prince Adam, and I saw that and I thought, oh, this looks good. I didn't think the figures were great, but I thought, oh, I like this. Maybe they're going to go down the whole Alcala DC mini comics direction. This seems great. And then I think it was a few months later at PowerCon last year, we saw the figures in the glass booth, and I was like, but they just look like the vintage ones, only more articulation and kind of a bit simpler. It just seemed a bit weird. And then it's like, here's the next wave, and it's, where's the direct? I don't understand the direction of this toy line. I think that's the problem I have. It seems to be weirdly unfocused and, unless I'm wrong, weirdly rushed as well. Like they're really, here's wave 1 and 2 and 3, and it's like, whoa, maybe give people a chance to breathe. And I'm sorry if I hear one more person say, oh, the kids are buying this. No, they're not. Go on. I've seen it on Instagram, across social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Adults, of course, are buying these toy lines en masse. Like I saw one guy, and don't get me wrong, it was a great photo opportunity. He had 3 Manny Faces figures so he could display each of the heads. And it's like, don't get me wrong, it was a really cool phone. It's like, if you want to do that, great. But Mattel will see that and go, the figures are selling really well. And it's like, no, adult collectors are still collecting them. It's, without, dare I say, without a cartoon, without that stuff behind it, I don't think this toy line is going to appeal to kids, because these days kids are glued to their iPhones and TVs and stuff like that. You need to go, hey, we're over here, not walking down a toy aisle. Maybe, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that does work for some kids. They'll go, what are these? But let's be honest, it's a majority of parents going, oh, I got these when I was a kid. They're great. And I've seen on like Instagram a lot, and it's nice to see in a way, but parents buying them for the kids. But let's be honest, the kid will get that toy and go, oh, cool, this is, and there's a comic, which is over in 1 page. What do I do with it now? Whereas, don't get me wrong, we had that with the original vintage toys. Of course, we had, a year where it was just the toys, and then the cartoon came out and all the supporting merchandise. But I just find it seems, the best way to put it is, and like, I'm no expert, I'm sure Origins is making Mattel lots of money, and Mattel know exactly what they're doing. But I look at it, I'm like, I don't quite get the logic behind the launch of this line, or not even the launch, just the way it's being put out. There seems to be a lack of focus in terms of which characters we're choosing. There seems to be a lack of focus in design. Like, for me, Trapjaw looks a far more detailed figure than Man-at-Arms, who looks really simplified. That Man-at-Arms figure, like Dayglow Man-at-Arms, it's like, this looks really weird. So I don't know, what I would change about the line is a lot. The one thing, I guess the saving grace of the toy line is, well, at least fans are happy. Well, at least certain fans are happy. It's like, good, you're getting your He-Man fix, but don't come around and turn to me and go, which I've had already. Oh, you're not a true fan because you're not collecting. It's like, motherfucker, I've worked in this brand for 20 years. You're going to tell me I'm not a true fan? I've loved this thing since 1983. So much of what you see on the internet, to a degree, is stuff that I've helped be a part of. We've all the community is almost more responsible than Mattel for keeping this brand alive. I think what we'll see is 2-3 years from now, and maybe quote me on this, 2 years from now, Origins will be gone, and Mattel will go, who wants the license again? Oh, no, sorry, I shouldn't say that, because by that point, the live-action movie will be out, and everybody will be going to the cinema en masse and being like, coronavirus is over, let's all go and watch the Masters of the Universe movie that has been 500 years in the making. And no, we won't. There's that movie. The movie's never going to happen. The one thing I am looking forward to, that's it. It's because it's like, that's the one thing I've got hope, some sort of hope for, of like, because we know that's going to be aimed at us. Whereas the thing that scares me are the little bits and pieces and rumors I've heard about the other show, which apparently may, if you think like there's wars in the community now, I think the CGI kiddie show there's going to be bloodshed. And not a cool FOP way either. It's going to be bloodshed, like literal taking to the streets, and it's going to be horrific scenes. But yeah, sorry to waffle, but I just find Origins, it's not where I thought the toy line would be going after classics. After classics, I thought, man. And it's the one thing that makes me sad, and this is like complete fanboy, I'm sad about this, is that when I go on Instagram, so many people are going into Walmart and discovering these and thinking that these are the first new He-Man toys since the 80s. Because with this toy line, Mattel gave a shit. Whereas with classics, they really didn't. And don't get me wrong, like I've said that before, classics was for the adults. And whether you like him or dislike him, Scott Knightley did a lot to keep that brand alive for so long. Like, it was that classics line was a blip on Mattel's radar. So they didn't have to do anything with that. And obviously Scott pushed it, and or everybody that worked on that line, the Four Horsemen, everybody did a great job. But you look on Instagram, people are like, oh my god, like new He-Man figures, and it's like, oh man, we've had new He-Man figures since 2008, and they were bloody amazing. Like, I didn't collect all of the classics, but my god, I'm sorry, those figures were just so good. And the beauty of classics was it was such a versatile line. They could just do anything and incorporate it, and you'd be like, yeah, great, okay. There's a few questionable choices, but on the whole, I thought classics was or is the best He-Man toy line ever. Better than the vintage, better than Origins, better than 2002, better than New Adventures. That's not exactly a challenge, but the classics I just thought was fantastic. I just don't understand Origins. To me, is a devolution in the brand. And there's no disrespect to those working on it.
I mean, it's just, I agree with you. I mean, we've talked about this before, where it's almost like a friend online posted, it's like a spreadsheet design at its worst. And that's kind of what it feels like, because it looks like it was just done on a computer and then 3D printed out and then mass produced and put at Walmart, the evil empire. Like let's put it on. I guess it's going to go to other stores first, but it just feels very corporate to me. I think Sean Scavarna was saying on the Legends of Grayskull podcast that it feels very corporate. And I know, granted, Mattel's a big corporation, and we're coming off classics, which was very much like, it almost felt it was like an anomaly that it even existed within Mattel, as you pointed out. Like, it's a blip on Mattel's radar. So, but it felt very much like for the fans directly, and which it was that direct to consumer. So this is back to retail again. But even so, when you had the 2000X line, it was also came back to retail. But there was more of I think because the Four Horsemen were involved with it, there was a creative spark to it, and it was very exciting because it was the first time Masters of the Universe was coming back. In fact, the questionable things in 2000X were all Mattel's choices, like doing all the stupid variants and changing the colors of armors from what the Four Horsemen intended in their 2-ups. Now this, with Origins, it just feels like, okay, we're going to spit this out and see what happens, just to mass produce it, put it out, see what happens. And hey, if it brings more attention to Masters of the Universe, so be it. If kids get into it, so be it. I'm not like, but I just feel it lacks that, the
it's the thing,
creativity.
I think I said it to you recently. The 2002 cartoon was fantastic, but it lacked heart. Filmation had heart.
Yeah. Yes.
The vintage line, the classics line had heart.
Yeah.
The current Origins toy line is by committee. It's just, here we go. Here's a figure. Blop 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 blop. Here's a figure. Let's send it out. What about the head sculpts? Meow. Oh, of course, we got to get that in there now as well. It's just. I am, like I said, the one thing I'm happy about is that people have something. And they're happy about it. Great. I mean, I'm not saying, drink the Kool-Aid and all that, but they're like, oh my God. And there are people that genuinely love these toys. Great. Fantastic. Good for you. But because I don't care for them, that doesn't make me any less of a fan. It doesn't make those who dislike this any less of a fan. Maybe it means they've got different priorities in life these days, or maybe they just don't like it. It's simple as that,
I will say, both you all have said, in various forms, that you all have been called out for being lacking in fandom because you're not supporting this bullshit. And there's no. It's cool for anybody to buy any product of Masters. I don't care what kind of pop bullshit or lame attire you might find at your current Hot Topic or something. Those puppies are sick T-shirts at your local fucked up Walmart.
That's your favorite shirt, by the way.
Yes,
you were wearing it last week in that picture that I had for the static image. It's your favorite.
That Nathan uploaded such a wonderful, that's the best I've ever looked, ever, period. But I would never go, it makes me mad to see that kind of stupid bullshit and that people feel like, but you know what? That doesn't make them any less a fan, and I would never say that they're not a fan because they bought that shit. But for people to come out and call you two out, either privately or on social media in some form or another, I just feel like I hope they're listening to this podcast and say, "Fuck all of you all." For going after either one of these two or anyone else in this community that has been working on this line in some form or another, has done nothing but constant posts, letting people know information about this and images of that most of us never knew. And you want to come after any of them and say they're not a true fan because they're not buying this, horse shit at your local retailer. Like, if you like it, great. But all of y'all can go to hell, and I'll gladly carry you along to get there a little bit quicker if you ever go after either one of these two or anyone else that's been on this podcast again for any of this stupid shit. Love it. And Bray guys are just got a hog has more brains in its ass than you guys do in your head for coming after these two. Both you all. I mean, you all have brains of an ice cube.
I think it's that brains of an ice cube. I think it's that just modern thing though, isn't it? It's like, hang on a second, you don't agree with something, therefore you're wrong, or it's fake news, or whatever you call it. But it's like, I love those that just think, oh, you're just the you're the Filmation guy. So yeah, I'm primarily the Filmation guy, but look, motherfucker,
you're damn right.
I've got 4 pages of Alcala artwork on my wall. Oops, it's that's the thing. It's that I just don't understand that mindset of just putting people in boxes. It's like, oh, you don't like Origins, therefore you're a bad person. It's like, no, not exactly. But I just
it's like we're not going to just
go on, Daniel.
So you stopped. So I thought you paused. It's just because a company puts something in a Master Universe package doesn't mean we have to buy every single thing that they put out. It's like just because it has that logo on it, I don't have to own that. I mean, I liked the Classics collection, so I collected those these figures out. Like, why am I going to go buy them? And it's like, I'm a traitor to the fandom because I'm not buying or to the brand. It's like, come on, ridiculous.
Yeah, I in terms of positives, let me just for a second, positives, like I say, glad that people were liking them. I like Axel's pencils.
I'll second that one.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't understand that. I don't understand the mindset behind muting his pencils with. Yeah, but who am I? Like, I'm not working.
No. I need that point needs to be emphasized because I could not have been more happier to see him working on him as much as he has. But they have just picked the wrong guy that just doesn't help. I mean, embrace his beautiful art. If not, just make it nothing but black, just pencils. I'd rather that be on the back of the packaging. Yeah. Because you can't tell how crisp and sharp and edgy his artwork is muted like that.
Yeah, I mean what was the other thing I was going to say about the packaging? Like that Castle Grayskull packaging, that artwork, to me, that was better than Rudy Avero's classic Castle Grayskull. I loved that Origins. Was it Origins? Origins Castle Grayskull.
It was because it was Nate and it was Axel and Nate as opposed to this other.
Because Nate is a talented, really super talented artist. Like what Nate do? Yeah.
This thing's like wigging out on me. Like.
Yeah. It's
yeah. This is crazy. Sorry, guys. Sorry to all our viewers watching this at home. It's just gonna. I don't know why it's doing that all of a sudden. It like comes and goes.
Well, we warned them it was gonna happen.
There we go. It might.
It's too much passionate fan power to make the podcast explode. That's the thing, like Danielle and James see when you're talking about the new Origins line. Like I said, I collect them. There's ones I enjoyed. There's, of course, I said I was critical of a couple of those heads, as you've seen what I talked about and things I thought could make things better. But, when I heard the name Origins at first, I was like, okay, what's this going to mean then? Like, will each person have their own mini comic with an origin? Well, obviously we found out that's not it because each wave gets one really crappy 6-page mini comic, and it's supposedly supposed to build the story. But this is what I mean. It's the same things what you guys were saying with like how the heads maybe they're just all 3D printed. I'm getting the same thing in the mini comics, meaning if that is supposed to actually represent Mia, and if we have seen in every mini comic him saying Mia, they just don't get it. I can't stress that enough. That's what I mean. It's like you guys are taking a stupid internet meme that, caught fire when the internet first started coming around. But That never happened. He never said this in the cartoon or any of the vintage stories. So why are you going with this stupid asinine thing that's mocking Skeletor and Masters as a joke? That's what I mean. So now you're writing it. It shows you don't get it. So obviously there's no level. Go ahead.
Isn't it when I think what it came from is when Skeletor goes like when he's frustrated in the cartoon, right? When Alan, I think that's
true. But you know what's funny? It's even if that is the thing where he's supposed to like scream, which it's still not meow. It's like just any fucking evil guy has done it. But here's the thing though, they're writing it now to where it's like He-Man, meow, like like. You know, an expression. So they're not getting the gist of it. It's like you guys are fucking up the context of it. That's what pisses me off, and I'm gonna pass it to James because I can tell he wants to say something about that.
No, I was just agreeing with you guys. Like the whole thing, like if you said name, because that's the thing. People have said to me. I've had that discussion with a few people, and they're like, "Oh, he said that in the cartoon." I was like, "Tell me an episode." Oh no, he said it, and I said, "Disappearing act." He raises his stuff and goes, nee! And then there's in Greatest Show on Eternity, he's on the back of a rocket, ridiculous visual, but and he goes, yeah. And then the other one is in The Good Shall Survive, when he does that weird pratfall, when he goes, he makes the noise like, and he just falls backwards. But there's no time when Skeletor goes, meow, and like
right.
I think people associate with that, and it's like, no, that has got nothing to do with it, but it's amazing.
It's like an expressive grunt, you know. That's what James. Like anybody can do. Any villain can do that. Any person, any hero could go. It's not an actual phrase, but they're making Hordak snorts after almost everything, or after Shadow Weaver when she goes, "Oh." It's like they're now inputting it. He has to go, He-Man, meow. I'm gonna get you, meow. It's like you just fucked it all up. That's what's irritating about it. It's like eliminate that, and that even I think made it onto the new Princess of Power, the new She-Ra open set that Axel did in the art. I think one of the panels, you see Skeletor saying it again. I was like, you guys are putting this in every fucking story. Stop it.
It's in the DC comics too. It made it into that. Yeah.
Well,
it's like quit.
Joe, I didn't want to. I wanted to wait until maybe next week to tell you this because Ryan kind of hit it. I'm going to change the name of the podcast to Fans of Meow. Just for you.
Thanks, I appreciate that. That'd be fantastic.
I'll be here for that. We have to find a replacement.
We'll go on past the 80 guys. Yeah.
I will say this. I want to put a positive note. I feel like I've been like very negative. David Clark he mistakenly sent me a Scareglow in the mail because I asked him to send me an Orko because I collect Orko figures, so I have like all.
David's a great guy. Yeah.
He is really nice, and he sent me a Scareglow in the mail. I guess he thought I wanted Scareglow, although I think he was secretly trying to get me hooked on the Origins. The Scareglow is actually pretty cool. Like I didn't take it out of the package, but it looks all right. I mean, I don't like it as much as the vintage or the plastic one. Yeah. Or he's we were talking about Orko the other day, James and I. There's a little, like, did you say like a little stretched out in terms of like the model sheet for Orko, but he looks better than the vintage one for sure. You know, the vintage Orko. Yeah.
Did he also send you that Skeletor that you put in the blender with piss?
No.
Oh, great with me. He's like, could you picture that? Like, Danielle, here, I want to send you this. That'd be awesome. Like, Danielle, I'm going to send you Skeletor. You're like, thanks a lot. Now I'm going to put him in the fucking blender.
I would have to be a real bitch.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Thanks, David.
Poor David.
And I should thank David Clark as well because he actually messaged me a couple days ago. He's going to send me a Scareglow because that's pretty much the one I actually really, really wanted because there's no way I'm going to pay eBay prices for a vintage one unless someone wants to offer me one at a decent price. I'm not spending $300 on a vintage Scareglow. Sorry.
And one other question before we get into one of the other topics I got to ask to both of you because I don't know if you've seen it. And I think it was Grimbot who actually sent me some pictures. I think in that Princess of Power figure, the one that opens up with the story that I think Axel showed, I think they showed a Light Hope. And I was like, what Light Hope is this supposed to be? Because it was like light, but I thought there was a face in it or it was represented as a person. But I was like, even in the Princess of Power vintage mini comic when he was shown, he was still a source of light. So I don't get it because I'm like, what are they pulling as canon? Because it looks like they're ignoring or Filmation or at least spitting on Filmation. I don't feel like Filmation's getting a lot of representation, at least canon-wise, because even stuff is confusing, like the one that I ripped up last week with Orko. Like now the Korodite, it's no longer something that the widgets mine or protect. It's just in Castle Grayskull. So I'm just confused. But Yeah, that's how the Coronite is now.
Shit.
Yeah, that's why I ripped it up last week too. But so that's what I mean. Do you guys know this Light Hope origin or source or what that is? Because I was lost. If you've seen it.
No, I haven't even seen it.
I love it how they're so dismissive. Like, I don't give a shit. I haven't seen it. That's great. I just need more of that. That's what I want to hear more of.
We need a screen cap of that. As James did this, you seen Danielle just holding the cigarette like, fuck this. What the fuck's he talking about? Fantastic. We're going to screen cap that for the motion of the episode. Oh, shit. I'll pass it to you, Nathan, because I know you've been pretty quiet.
What I would love to see,
go ahead, Danielle.
I'd love to see an official Filmation comic that's written by James Eatock. That's what I want to see.
Stop it,
where he has full creative control on the comic. Because if Masters of the Universe 85 is any indication, James is the one for the job. He should absolutely be doing this Filmation comic.
This is not me being humble, because as you know, I'm a very humble guy. but I this. Sorry, that's a bit of a private joke between Danielle and I. The writing a Master Universe comic, it's not rocket science. All you have to do is understand the characters. Yeah, like obviously there are things like rules and grammar and stuff like that. Or you want to, but anybody can do it. Obviously, I can do it, and I've got like Adam Moore and Andrew Kramer on board and everything. And when I want to do other things like Return of Fake, you got Doosan. But anybody who knows the brand, who knows these characters, can write them, because they've been so incredibly well fleshed out since the 80s. So it boggles the mind when you see these modern interpretations of the characters, and it's like, what? And I'm not. That's not me digging on having a go at the She-Ra Netflix show, because that was its own thing. And from what I understand, they did a lot of no, but hang on. But in that show, they did a lot of
polite about that show.
No. But let me finish. My point is, they did a lot of character, regardless of what our opinions are of that show. They did a lot of heavy lifting and character work in that show. So that's there. What I'm saying is, with the Master Universe brand, everything like Origins and not really classics didn't really have much of a canon, but like the DC comics and stuff, this all comes from the vintage, what has been established in the vintage, and obviously they pick and choose, and it just boggles the mind how they seem to get Skeletor wrong so many times, and it's like I know it sounds terrible. He is, if you I think the biggest problem I have with the whole thing, and apologies for those that love this, but it's Keldor. Keldor head to toe is probably one of the worst offenders, because all it did, and especially when they do the whole, he's King Randall's brother, it makes him go from being this ethereal evil demon from another dimension to, he's just a bloke who got some acid on his face. That, to me, you just completely. I understand that people like Origins, not the toy line. I mean, character origins. Like, I want to know where this character came from, what their motivations are, this, that, and the other. I always loved the fact that Skeletor was just an evil bastard from another dimension who's like, do you know what? I'm going to attack this planet. I want to conquer Castle Grayskull because I want the power of Grayskull, or I want the Royal Palace throne. It's very black and white. It's very easy to understand his character. So writing him, you just write. For me, I always go via the DC mini comics, those 7 DC mini comics from 1983 or whatever it was, 82, 83. Yeah. Who wrote those? Was it Gary Cohn or Cohen?
Yeah, it was Gary Cohen and
Mark
Texer.
Yeah, those mini comics to me define Skeletor, and we know for a fact that and the DC mini comic series that followed. Oh no, sorry, that was a precursor to that. Those define those characters, because when Filmation started writing the He-Man series, they were reading those, which is obviously Skeletor evolved, as you want to call it, into a more comedic villain. But if you want to write a good Skeletor, all you do is just go back to like the Dragon Invasion or Diamond Ray of Disappearance or
Evelyn's Plot.
Yeah, you just go to those episodes and you just hear that voice, and he's not going yeah or any of that bullshit. It's just he's delivering dialogue in that voice, and when done right, that voice was fucking killer, because it was obviously Alan Oppenheimer doing his Ming the Merciless voice from Flash Gordon. But I'm just always amazed when yeah, it just goes on to this thing where it's like, how is Skeletor like this? Yeah, I don't know. Like, what do I know? Like, but yeah, all I know is when I was doing Master Universe 85, which will come back at some point, when we were doing that, there was like, and of course, it's always one of these things. Probably like 2 people hated it, but without reading a single page, and it wasn't the artwork, it wasn't it was because I was working on it. Oh, God forbid. So yeah, it was one I said. I don't understand. It's like I'm not writing War and Peace here, and that's not me, going, oh, stop it. It's just. You just write Skeletor, you just write He-Man, you just tell a story. But what we keep getting is, right, this story, it's going to be the end of the world story. This story, it's going to be all the different multiverses. It's like, can we just have a fucking He-Man story?
From
A to
That's
B.
the thing is, why does it have to be like a huge arcs that spread over, like, they do these like, massive events. It's like, just do like some like straight up adventure stories that are fun to read,
It's oh my God, I've got to write a He-Man comic, right? So I'm going to kill the sorceress, Merman's going to be a woman, and it's like, just tell a fucking story. I can't go on, but yeah, it's just it boggles
the mind. Brilliant stuff.
But yeah, and and I'm a massive dick for saying it, because obviously I know certain people that worked on these comics, but I just don't understand that desire to constantly say this is going to be the biggest story ever. It's like, just tell stories. And like, in fairness, those mini comics that come with Origins are telling stories, or maybe
not really.
5-second plays, whatever. But they're at least they're trying to do.
Dribble.
But they're trying to do standard adventures, and for that's like, okay, that's good. You're not killing everybody from page to page. I just wish people would realise at heart what Masters of the Universe is.
These stories are great. You can read them panel by piece by piece. What's that? No. Fantastic.
Oh man, it makes for great TikTok kids,
Would you say that it's kind of the problem with
think
comics now anyway, is that they always want to do that instead of just sticking to everything and just trying to tell a fun story? It's like everything now. It's like, well, this is the biggest thing. You never. I know that's.
I can't. They're so impenetrable. You can't pick up an issue and read. That's why I liked when they did the Batman. They did the animated Batman series comics back in the day, and it's like, oh, I can just grab an issue and it's a cool story, and it's self-contained, and it's not. And every once in a while they do like a two or three parter, but usually it was like its own thing. And I miss comics like that. You never see that anymore. I would love to see something like that for He-Man, where it's just like self-contained adventures,
I just like, I guess my big gripe, and it's a big miserable old man gripe, and it is from a 43-year-old man, is just look at what made He-Man and She-Ra so damn good back in the day. It wasn't the biggest adventures ever. It was fantasy, it was magic, and it was fantasy, magic, science fiction, all that stuff brought together and told stories, whether it was episodic, and it was. I'm not saying they were simple stories, but they were stories. And that's all you need to do. It's a very He-Man is not complicated. He-Man and She-Ra is a very simple formula. I just don't understand why. And maybe it's me. Maybe I'm like, oh, the 80s were so good, and
no, it ain't that at all.
But the thing is, the 2002 cartoon, I think that got it right. I think the one thing lacking from that show, like I said, was heart. But primarily, for in terms of a story, that was great. It was like it told episodic stories, and yet brought in certain elements that led to a point.
Because you could pick it up anywhere in the series and not feel like you're left out of something.
Yeah,
which is what comics are.
I'm going to
today.
throw in. I'm sorry, Tyler. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tyler.
No, I was just saying. I feel like everything now is just got to be. Everything's so damn connected. Like, we love continuity, but I got vintage Spider-Man comics over here on my wall. I can pick up any one of those and give it to any new reader and say, read this, and this will tell you one story, and you don't feel like you have to read decades before. It may want you to go seek out more, but that's what's so good about Filmation is it makes you want to go and dig more and learn about this episode, or when this character showed up. It's just
or have both. Have one that's like an overarching story, and then have just like single issues going on. But one thing I want to add is He-Man himself. I think people have a tough time with He-Man, and I had a problem with He-Man in the NYP cartoon because Cam Clark overplayed the that voice. Yeah, and also with the DC comics, I find He-Man has to be really likable. He has to have compassion for others. He's extremely powerful, right? But he still has that compassion for others. But he also has a sense of humor to him. I'm not talking about wacky, over the top, but he has a kind of a wry sense of humor. That was part of John Irwin's charm as He-Man, where he would occasionally will talk. He's not that concerned, I mean, he is in certain things where he's very, we're in a serious situation, but he also tosses off those like wry comments and things like that. That I remember as a kid, that made He-Man likable to me, and I think that they've dropped that. They're afraid to sort of embrace that He-Man can do that. He can throw off a humorous barb at somebody. He doesn't have any of that in any of the recent iterations that I've seen of Masters of the Universe, and I miss that about He-Man.
I think something else that's really like an NYP did not get is the dynamic of He-Man and Prince Adam. Like, you don't feel sorry for Prince Adam at all in NYP.
No.
Still is like a pompous ass.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, we're not seeing the struggles he's going through of, like, the secret identity. What do I do in this situation that we would see multiple times in Filmation? It's like, nobody fucking gets it. Like, why? So it's like they clearly have dismissed secret identity. It's not only in movies, but in comic books as well. We're like, that's part of the character, the struggles that this young man is going through, these problems with women, disappointing his parents, trying to save the damn planet at the same time from 3 different factions and various other invaders and shit like that. And we're not... That's why he's so much like Spider-Man, like going through all these other problems that makes him so relatable. Like, how the hell is he going to get out of this? He's going to save the day, but he's going to piss off his father in the same episode or issue. We don't see none of that in Turtle Struggle.
If He-Man isn't likable, you've lost. He-Man, you have to like He-Man. It's essential, and Adam too. It's like you have to like them as characters.
Obviously, when writing superpowered heroes like your Superman and stuff, because they're obviously so damn powerful, that there's very little threat and stuff. It can be quite easy to write them very bland. So what you have to do, especially with He-Man and Superman, is you give them charm. That's what Christopher Reeve did with Superman. He was so damn charming in that role. It was just like, oh, you can do anything, and you're, truth, justice, the American way, and all that stuff. But we didn't go, oh, it's cringy, because it's like, oh, but he believes in that in his heart, and he's so charming. And with He-Man is like, I'll just toss a mountain over here, but check that out, Oracle, or whatever. And it was, I don't know, just that wry smile He-Man had. And don't get me wrong, I love the DC comic stuff. Obviously, like I've said before, my favorite DC mini comics are the DC published ones, where He-Man slays the Glorm, all that stuff. And that was obviously a different take on He-Man. But to me, the perfect balance of He-Man is you can have that, I'm not going to say savage, but you can have that axe wielding He-Man with the charm and compassion of Filmation's He-Man. I think there is a perfect mix there. I think Filmation obviously play it very safe, and the DC mini comics back in the day played it very, have at the kind of thing. But you bring them together, and there is you can create a balance. And I don't understand why they just don't seem to be able to do that. It's I don't know. What do we know? We're only fans.
Yeah, we're just sitting around on a Sunday evening bitching about a toy line from the 80s.
Well, I had a feeling, though, like I said, the questions, when I asked them, I wanted it to be deep and rich and to pull out as much as I can from everyone. Just like I said, this is just us being super passionate fans, giving our thoughts, not like I always, say a bunch, not shitting on things to be assholes, but we just want this to be the best property that it can be. We want it to be like it was back in the day. Will it ever be like that again? I don't know, probably not. But we have hopes, and that's why we try to say things, is hopefully you can hear this, and people that, are out there are listening, and maybe could take it to heart. So, you know what? Maybe we should try to change something like this. Maybe this could be tweaked like this. That's the only reason we do this. But go ahead, James.
I was going to say, can I just say one thing? I think the thing I hope is that...
He just keeps going anyway. I like how he just completely breezed past that. You're like, nope.
That's like Uncle James is that when he speaks, like he only hears himself. Like,
yeah, of course I do. What do you say? But when the one thing I hope that Origins leads to is that it becomes successful. And out of that, what we all would hope really is if, okay, you don't like Origins, but guess what? there's a Filmation comic, or there's a Savage comic, or you want the brand to be so big, like Transformers, that you can pick and choose. That's what you want, as opposed to Origins, which is, well, this is all you're getting at the moment, and all these other bits of merchandise. We're very limited, understandably, in what we're being given. So if Origins takes off and fills the toy aisles and all the kids and everybody loves it, and Revelation comes along and makes everything good, and it's like, oh my God, this is great. And the kid cartoon is atrocious, but we all enjoy it. I don't know what people enjoy. The one thing you want to get from that is choice. The ability to walk, go online and be like, oh, what about this? Oh, I don't really like that. I like this, and we've got like a 1980s He-Man comic, or a New Adventures comic, or a 2002 comic, or this, that. I love the idea that the brand becomes big eventually, that we end up with something like Transformers, where you can go into a comic shop and you go, which of these Transformers, do I get the 80s one, or the Energon, or the latest, or the movie? You should have that choice with He-Man. There is no one and only He-Man. There's a variety.
Right.
And it's just, I just hope we get there at some point, rather than being told this is what you will like, or
Oh, with the new Kevin Smith cartoon, that's what is hopeful. Is I'm sorry, Daniel. I know we got the goofy 30-second delay. You know me, I'll speak 100 miles an hour anyways. I'll be real quick.
Sorry. I feel like cutting you guys off.
But the new I was gonna say the new Revelation cartoon. Let's say that it is a hit, and we're gonna be getting those Mastersverse figures based off of that. Then hopefully that could be a success, because that looks like that could be geared toward more adult collector and more details and a little taller, possibly. And with that, maybe you think, okay, there's people that want that. Then there's the others that just want to go for the vintage style. And if they could reel in the kids, which would be nice, I'm sure they might tend to go more towards Origins. What I've seen so far with Origins is, they have sold well. There has been some stores, I told you, too much of overstock with He-Man and Skeletor, but it almost seems like the WWE versions of like the Masters figures seem like they're selling more than anything. People love mixing and matching. It almost seems like they're having more artistic freedom with them as well. But I know it seems like they've been selling quick. You're right. I would hope there could be choices. People want those Origins, or people want the Mastersverse ones, and anything else that could come. You want it to be big, and I guess that's only crossing fingers that something like that can happen. There you go. I was doing the same thing. I was looking at you. Go ahead, Danielle.
I think they're trying to prep for that, honestly, with this whole multiverse idea. I think if Masters of the Universe is a success, they're going to go with the whole multiverse idea, where every version of Masters of the Universe, from Filmation to the Savage stuff to MYP, all exists, and they would release things for each of those versions of Masters of the Universe if it's a big success. From what I've seen with Masterverse so far, I've only seen that Moss Man. I'm not overly impressed, just because it's, again, I don't like the whole like tree. We talked about this, I think, Joe. It looks like the legs are like these root things. They're doing like the swamp thing kind of thing.
Yeah, I got more of a MYP vibe than a Filmation style. I didn't know where it was going, but it was weird. I even thought, like I told you when we talked about it, I thought it was a custom. I was like, wait, that was real? I didn't even know that was real. I thought it was a custom.
And again, it's like bringing in the Four Horsemen to do this stuff. Like, we have Ruben working on it, and I don't want to throw Ruben under the bus here, but he's done some questionable things. Let's just put it that way. Over the years, with his involvement in the brand, is very much interested in working on retail brands because they're high profile. Great, if that's what you want to do, then bring in people like the Four Horsemen to work on this stuff, because Eric Treadaway, if you ever have a conversation with George Vukovic, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, it's like almost like having a spiritual experience when he's talking about Masters of the Universe. He is so passionate about the design and just the mythology of Masters of the Universe. He's one of the sculptors who works with the Four Horsemen. He sculpted like Eldor and Fisto and stuff. He puts such immense love into that. And Eric Treadaway, who loves Masters of the Universe so much, and is such a talented prodigy in terms of how good he is at sculpting, bring in people like that to do this stuff, because they will put their heart and soul into it instead of putting it through a computer. That said, with the cartoon, with the Revelation cartoon, we do have Ted Biaselli in there, and Ted is a hardcore fan of Masters of the Universe. Like, I know James knows Ted. Ted has gone to PowerCon like pretty much every year. Before he was like big at Netflix, I remember sitting in a car with him at San Diego Comic Con, and we started talking about 80s cartoons. It was like a group of us in a car, and just you could tell he is a hardcore fan of pop culture, and especially Masters of the Universe. Masters of the Universe is his jam. So if Ted has a say in stuff that's coming out media-wise, then I feel we're in good hands. Of course, Ted is not alone in making those decisions. You're dealing with Mattel and Universal as well, I believe. So you have other corporations that have their hands on that too. So we'll see. Rob David too. He is a fan. I think Ted's is way up here though, and Rob is a fan too. I'm not knocking Rob David. Is a wonderful person. Yeah, really nice guy and very very
super
intelligent.
Annoyingly nice at times, where it's like,
yeah,
why do you have to be so nice?
Yeah.
But no, Rob is a fan, but Ted is where my hope for the heart of the show is.
Yes.
And I will say, like I've said it before, and I may have even said it on Fans of Power, but the one hope I had was last year when we stood in that convention hall, and Lee and I were at the back, stood there, and Kevin Smith was up there, and he was talking about the Filmation cartoon, and he just said, he goes, I watched it. He goes, I wasn't the biggest fan, but I watched it. And he goes, it was all about family, and I was like, yes.
Yep.
That's what I want to hear. You take this
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the crazy good family and the crazy bad family. The evil warriors are a family, and I don't mean that in a traditional sense. I just mean you have to look at it like that, because that's how you play those characters. The same, and especially with the heroes, that is a family. That is why the Filmation cartoon wasn't a toy advert, because it focused on this core cast of characters. It was a family that all lived at the Royal Palace. So
yes.
And
those poignant moments, James, in those BCI DVDs that you worked on, that those that Emiliano drew into those BCI DVDs on the foldouts, those poignant moments are the things that people do remember. Like, there is a heart to that. There is those interpersonal dynamics between the characters are essential. But MYP was too cold in that respect, I felt. Like, it felt like Man at Arms hated Orko in the MYP cartoon.
Everybody hated each other. Taylor was the ultimate PMS bitch. Marlena had offered nothing in terms of substance, and Prince Adam, even with his powers, like, there's nothing likable about Prince Adam. He's not worried. Yeah. He's not in peril. He's still a pompous ass. Like, not even in character, like pretending to be. No, he's just an asshole. Like, he's not likable in any sense. It's hard to find someone to really cling to, other than like, I like Buzz-Off or I like Mossman in this episode. Right. Like, it's just there's nothing to gravitate to with the essential core cast of Man at Arms, Tila, and He-Man.
But James, as James pointed out, Kevin Smith acknowledged that there's that family is at the core of it, and if he is aware of that and Ted is aware of that, then I think I'm very hopeful as well.
I didn't know he said that, so knowing that coming from both you all, like, okay, I'll pull back the reins on my skepticism about him. I still worry he's going to come in there and do something fucked up, and I'm going to ready to strangle him.
My kind of faith. I mean, I was a big fan of Kevin Smith movies, not so much anymore, but I mean,
me too.
Chasing Amy is still one of my favorites. I still love Chasing Amy. It's to me, that still holds up in maybe a few questionable moments in it, but it still holds up. But when Kevin Smith has ever worked on another property, and he has openly admitted this, like he worked on a lot of the DC shows in recent years, and I was watching those. I've kind of given them up on them now because there's so many of them. It got a bit samey after a while. But he would come on board, and he would always say, when I come to play in somebody else's sandbox, I don't know, is that the term? He said, I would always, or play with someone else's box of toys, I would always make sure that I don't disrupt it. I would always play with them and put them back exactly where I found them. So in other words, he's not going to go in and do Jay and Silent Bob He-Man. He's going to go in and go, right, what's been established before? Okay, I'm going to take all of this, and here's what I'm going to try and do. So obviously it's Kevin Smith. The guy can write serious shit, and he can write. He's a really good writer. He really is, especially when it comes to comic book stuff. But I mean, all we can do until next year is just keep those fingers crossed, guys. That's all we can do. I don't think we've got much hope for the like I say, the CGI kiddie cartoon, because I just think that's not even going to be remotely for any of us.
No, that's good. They're going to try to hook in like a new generation of kids with that. I think you're right. There's going to be wars over that card. I don't think Doosan is going to be able to survive that.
Yeah, meltdowns every other day.
I've just noticed something. Tyler and I have exactly the same size arms. Look.
I was like, should I wait and tell him afterwards, or just compliment him, like, open the podcast? Like, I think James and I go to the same gym. I'm like,
yeah, clearly.
I know you. Aren't you?
Well, Wacky waving inflatable tube, man.
He wears my twig-like arms.
Well, now I feel like I have to up my game. I can't have competition now. I gotta start working on getting better than James here. Like,
I'm just constantly tensing up, so like my belly doesn't go over this camera.
Right. All right. Well, we knocked out that first part. That was a hell of a good discussion. That was the first part. The other part, it might be something a little more quicker before we eventually get to the people in the chat who will have questions for both of you guys and us as well, I'm sure. But since we do have this kind of Fans of Power, slight NWO outsider thing, I had a question that I posed to everybody, and I'll start with Danielle. And the question is, if you were to create your ultimate outsider team in Masters of the Universe, consisting of the 5 factions of Heroic Warriors, Evil Warriors, Snake Man, the Horde, and the Great Rebellion, and of course, not using the leaders like He-Man, Skeletor, and all the leaders, who would you use and why? So that's you, Danielle. You go first.
Oh, you were breaking up a lot, so I couldn't hear.
I was breaking up.
Yeah, no, the cameras went all crazy again for a second. So, yeah.
Well, I'll talk again, and I'll do it slow because I do talk 100 miles an hour. But if you were to create your ultimate faction, outsider faction, from the 5 main ones of Heroic Warriors, Evil Warriors, Snake Man, Horde, and Great Rebellion, who would you pick and why? And of course, not the main, leaders, no He-Man, Skeletor, that just everybody else. Who would you choose and why?
Okay, I'm also gonna take Evelyn and Shadow Weaver out too, because they're pretty powerful. So I'm gonna take them off the table as well. So I'm gonna pick for the good guys. I'm gonna pick Stone Dar.
Whoa, this is different. Okay.
Did not
I'm gonna pick Stone Dar, and then for the Great Rebellion, I'm gonna pick Frosta. Here's what would happen. Frosta would first person they're up against, first tag team. Frosta is gonna come into the ring. She freezes them, turn to ice. There's not. What are they gonna do? They're frozen. I mean, she's really powerful. Then Stone Dar is going to, bowling ball, he's going to turn into his rock form and just bowl right through them. That's it. Done. Two people eliminated. Then we got, we're going to get, from the Horde, I'm going to go with Voltac.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Voltac. And I am going to get Scareglow from the Evil Warriors. So we got Voltac and we got Scareglow. So next to Scareglow comes in. He's just standing there, kind of like Undertaker style. He's standing there and then throws back his cape, lights up. The opponent starts like, oh my God, quivering, terrified, falling to their knees. They can't do anything. Meanwhile, as they're like begging for their lives, like reliving their worst fears that they've ever had, Voltac kind of sneaks behind, comes from behind, and then he grabs him from behind, picks him up, and they're like trembling, and Voltac like grabs him, puts him in the pile driver position, right?
Oh, wow.
And then he puts him in the pile driver position, right? And then Voltac, but he doesn't do the pile driver. What he does is extends the wings, starts flapping, rises up to the ceiling of the arena, up to the lights. Everybody's looking up, and then stops. Of course, he's wearing really good knee pads here. Drops from the top of the arena all the way down, bam, right down to the mat.
A sky driver.
Gone, eliminated, over and done with. And then for the snake men, I mean, it's pretty obvious, I think, you could go any way with that. There's any number of options there that you can go with, but I think for since I already used the freezing power of Frost, I don't want to imitate that with Snake Face. You could kind of do the same thing. So instead, we're going to have the ultimate sleeper hold. Squeeze. Like there's no getting out. There's just no getting out of the ultimate sleeper hold. The king of the sleeper hold. You know, King Hiss might be the king of the snake men, but Squeeze is the king of the sleeper hold, and just that's it. Count that person out. It's over. That's
Okay.
it.
All right. I'll pass it to James. It went in a different direction than I thought, but I still liked what you did.
Oh, is that what we were supposed to do?
Well, I kind of did what Danielle did too. So
Did you?
Joe, if
Okay,
didn't do
all right.
that, then I guess you're outnumbered.
I'm the outsider, so I'll be on the outside. But no, that's good. But I like it. I'll pass it to James, and then you go to Tyler and Nathan. Go ahead.
You might want to come to me last.
I'm gonna pass it to Tyler, and then we'll go to Nathan.
All right. Well, I essentially came up with everything. I gave them a name. I called the crew Brood. And my team captain is Dialamog, who I just see as the ultimate asshole who could cut promos and really piss people off with that smile. And his finisher is the Devlin Drop. And then,
Devlin Drop.
Yeah, I figured you all would appreciate that.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
Next, I have Icer and his valet Frosta.
Nice.
And, I just feel like every time Icer comes to the ring, Frost is there or escorting anybody from the faction, but she is the female competitor and the valet of the group. And Icer's finisher is the Icebreaker. Frost's is the Frostbite. And representing the Snake Man, I've got Squeeze also, and I wanted to give his finisher much like Jake the Snake Roberts, the Snake Snap, which wraps both arms around the head and just goes down for a DDT.
Nice.
And then the tag team and I decided to break out a little bit and bring in a New Adventures Tuscador, who does the Stampede Smash, and Lizard Man, because Lizard Man is fucking awesome and needs to be recognized more. And he does the 10-star Frog Splash from the top rope.
10-star.
Absolutely, but it's better than 5-star. So that is, and their entrance thing would be Black Thunder by Morgan Willis, which is this awesome '80s techno synth song.
Wow.
Which I was just envisioning this Frost rubbing on Icer's chest, and he's just God, I'm so badass. And it'd be like me walking the ring with Jessica Alba. That's how cool it would be here.
That is good.
So that is my group, the Crude Brood.
I love that.
You said Jessica Alba. My God, I haven't thought of it. I used to love that series.
I just think beautiful women. I always go to her. She's one of my even though she makes shitty movies, but she's so hot.
And that's what sucks is I was loving Dark Angel. I thought it was doing great in the ratings. Then they canceled it for Firefly, and then Firefly was shit show and went away. It's you just fucked up a great TV show. But then she went on to do movies in Hollywood. But I was I'd rather her be in Dark Angel. I love that TV series. Just to look at her.
Hang on. You didn't like Firefly?
Oh, that fucking sucked. I hated it, and that's why it didn't last long. Nobody liked it, and it fucking ruined Dark Angel and Jessica Alba. I get to see her all the time on TV, and that went away. Them lips, good God, them lips, and that. Okay, this is going in a whole different direction. Nathan, you go on. What
Joe,
you got?
you're off the show. I'm kicking you off of the show. I like Firefly. Joe, you need to.
I like Firefly.
Well,
I watched it after way later, but I liked it when
Joe, I'm gonna admit something. I forgot completely about this topic. It's
That's
escaped
okay.
my mind, so I guess I started thinking about it once you brought it up, and I had the idea. It's kind of funny that Danielle went first because my idea was to have both Frosta and Snakeface, so you could turn them to stone and freeze them. But then I would have Fisto come through and just start punching everybody and disintegrating everything.
That's awesome.
Well, that's the thing, too, because I was thinking maybe Stratos just to piss Joe off, but I ended up going with Fisto.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's supposed to be the ultimate evil. Joe's like an angry old lady up front, swinging his purse at Stratos when he comes to the ring, and he's sitting there, challenging Joe to, smack him on the chin and everything.
I was so disappointed. I remember,
he could dye his beard black like Hollywood Hogan. That'd be great. There's a couple for you, Joe. Hollywood Stratos there.
Oh dear God.
Great.
No, what's funny is you talk about Gangrel. I mean, because I love the Brood. They had one of the most badass, funky entrances. I love that music, but I wish Gangrel never opened his mouth.
Yeah.
The second he did,
His
God, when he
promos
cut-
were fucking terrible.
that was the worst thing I ever heard. When he finally talked, I was like, oh, that was a pile of shit. And I think it went down more and more, and then just there went away the brood. Oh, why did he open his mouth? That was okay. Go ahead, Nathan.
Well,
back to you.
I'm also thinking about that match that he had with, I think it was X-Pac, and this is when Teddy Long was still refereeing at the time, and he like fucked up the count. And I was like, wait, no, that was a 3.
Yeah.
What happened there? And they tried to play it off like everything was cool and fine. God, man, Gangrel. Now you got me thinking about the theme music rocked, the entrance rocked. I hated the whole thing though that they tried to work because he's feuding with Edge, and here comes Christian. This is his brother. I understand what they're trying to do with that, but God, he opened his mouth and ruined everything. And I think they had Edge talk in that promo too, and Edge was kind of bad.
He was like
Christian didn't talk though. Didn't Christian just kind of stand off or look to the side? He didn't talk. Did he?
Yeah, but Edge said something really dumb in his promo.
Yeah.
It was
say?
something like what was it? Like the creatures come out at night or something, and then he had the delay was like the creatures come out at night, and he just like was trying to smile and look, and it was horrible. See, now I'm getting off track. So, what other factions do I have left here? I have the Horde, and what was the other?
You need the Great Rebellion. Oh, no, you got Frost instead of the Horde. You haven't picked the Hordeman yet.
This is what I get for not being prepared and totally forgetting about the topic.
It's okay. That's okay.
See,
If
Joe
you can't
didn't-
finish
Joe
the
didn't do it correctly either. So
like, hey, can I do this again? No, we're live, pal.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. So I'll pass it to, I guess, James. James, go ahead, you do it.
Pass it to James. My opinion on this show doesn't matter that much anyway. Come on now.
Okay, so obviously, I didn't know. Were we supposed to do a wrestling theme for this thing? Because I didn't know that.
Well, the thing is, I'll be honest. When I first did it, I was just trying to, just make your own ultimate faction, one from each of the factions with the 5 characters. It kind of went wrestling, but that's fine. That's fine. Whatever way you interpret it. But if you interpret it a different way, James, then go your other way of just an ultimate badass faction, taking one from each of the 5 main factions.
Okay, strap yourselves in because James Eatock did some writing this morning because he had like 20 minutes.
Just to let everybody know, it's 6:21. We will be probably done with James at 6:50, I'm sure. But go on, James. Here we go.
If you're lucky.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. Here we go. Right.
Oh wait, can I go into the living room and get my blanket and a pillow and stuff so I can get comfy and settled in
Make
for
the brownies.
bedtime
You got
stories
plenty-
with James?
Yeah, absolutely. Get cozy. Get a warm cup of cocoa. Get your slippers on, and if anybody's listening or watching, got your massage oils out. Start applying them. That sounds wrong, but let's do this. Okay. So my team up goes like this. In the cold dead of night, a dimensional gate materialized outside of the Whispering Woods. 2 figures emerged and slowly began to take in their otherworldly surroundings. This is asked Trapjaw. Cyclone paused before answering, looking at a device in the palm of his hand. I believe so. The coordinates appear to match up. Trapjaw squinted into the darkness which seemed to surround them before removing his hook and replacing it with his lasertron attachment, clicking it into place. Is that really necessary? Asked Cyclone. Better to be ready for anything, replied Trapjaw. The 2 Eternians continued to observe the unique world upon which they found themselves, the seemingly endless silence broken only by a gentle breeze which caused the nearby trees of the Whispering Woods to evoke a noticeable yet calming jingle. I think that's the right word, jingle or tinkle, whatever. You ever been to this planet before? Or you ever been to this planet before? Asked Trapjaw. No, replied Cyclone, but I've heard many tales of this world. Before the pair could continue their conversation, a noise alerted them to the heavily wooded area that lay before them. Who's there? Questioned Trapjaw, a clear nervousness in his metallic voice. Well, you made it. Catra stepped out from the shadows. At her side was a familiar face to both Eternians, Ratlaw. Trapjaw? Questioned a shocked Ratlaw. He continued, shouldn't you be at Snake Mountain, cowering next to Beastman? Trapjaw took a step towards Rattler. Why you sorry? Excuse for a Cyclone reached his arm across Trapjaw, preventing the villain from engaging in battle. No need to scrap, gentlemen, remarked Catra. Turning towards Ratlaw, the female feline continued. Even the self-proclaimed Lord of Destruction as the Wizard of Weapons. Ratlaw scoffed. And what was the last thing he built? You mean building, replied Catra with a smirk etched across her face. Cyclone stepped forward. You have the Cyclone stepped forward. You have the audacity to question Trapjaw's allegiance? Cyclone said accusingly. Whose side are you on this week, Ratlaw? Evil warriors, snake men, evil horde? Ratlaw, whose posture was often hunched. Ratlaw, whose posture was often hunched, stood upright, raising his tail ready for battle. Catra had heard enough. Silence, all of you. Ratlaw, Cyclone, and Trapjaw listened as Catra began to explain. We're all here because we're, shall we say, dissatisfied with our current situations. That's the truth. That's the truth, replied Trapjaw. I don't think I can take another one of Skeletor's plans to conquer Eternia. Cyclone responded, trust me, it isn't much better being a part of the heroic warriors. We save villages, continents, even planets. And who gets all the plaudits? The most powerful man in the universe. Trapjaw groaned. I can't stand that guy. Cyclone turned to Catra and Ratlaw. What about you two? This is Cyclone. What about you two? You're the Force Captain, Catra. Surely nothing, interrupted Catra. The evil horde has lost its way. There are no longer any benefits to being part of this intergalactic empire. Trapjaw walked towards Catra. With that being the case, do you mind telling us why you wanted to meet us here, Catra? Catra responded with glee. Of course, because this is where we'll liaise with the individual that has brought us together. Cyclone and Trapjaw looked at one another, confused by what they had just heard. Cyclone turned back to Catra. But we thought this alliance was your idea. Trapjaw raised his lasertron. This is a trap. Catra interrupted. It's not a trap, Metalmouth. Just wait. Cyclone and Trapjaw's eyes widened as from within the Whispering Woods a figure emerged. Cyclone could not believe his eyes. You? Trapjaw equally as stunned. This has to be a joke, right? Catra smiled, remarking, not a joke. A few years ago, this young lady conquered the Fright Zone and had Hordak at her mercy. To say the power she wields is impressive would be an understatement. In her sing-song-like voice, Perfumer declared, who's ready to overthrow a planet or two?
Tyler's face.
So my theory for all this is, so you'd have Catra as the leader and the tactician, primarily. Perfumer was the one who got them together, but Perfumer would be the powerful magician, who can basically make flowers do whatever she wants and overthrow bases of operations. Ratlaw would be the muscle intimidation. Cyclone would be air and speed. And Trapjaw would be firepower and as well as an inventor. So that was my idea of you create this really badass team and they've all got different roles. I think, and people may roll their eyes at Perfumer, but it's like...
Oh, I'm definitely rolling my eyes at Perfumer. Like, what the hell, man?
But you know how powerful she was. She did overthrow...
She controlled plants.
Yeah, she overthrew the Fright Zone.
I was just like, oh my God, this is like... Oh. And then he's like... I thought maybe Madame Raz or something like that.
Definitely,
I could totally. I was envisioning a Filmation episode as James is like sharing that. So you know what? You got my blessing on Perfume. I'm like, go. Here's the money. Go.
Oh,
that
was awesome. That was.
It wasn't. I wanted to give us just some context, to everybody. I just shot that to all of them today, saying, "Hey, just could you come up with 5 people to make into their own faction?" And of course, we went 2 with wrestling themes, and Nathan with his wrestling theme, or half. I was gonna say half.
Half. All right. How about Trapjaw and Mosquitor? There we go. Done.
Okay, there you go.
Made my team.
But no. But what I'm getting to basically is, look what James just did. That was today. That was with lighthearted fun. Within a couple hours, he did that. He didn't have prep time, and I guess it almost goes back to what we were saying earlier. They had plenty of time to write great mini comics for Origins. James just did that in an hour. That doesn't even make sense because that was really inviting. Yes, it was a even crazier twist at the end, but definitely outsiders, especially Perfume, if you want to say somebody that feels like maybe an ultimate outsider, maybe within the faction. But my point is, look how great that fucking story was, and that came out of a mind from somebody in an hour. That's unreal, James. I don't even know what to say because that's great.
Thank you. It was fun. When you said the challenge, I was just like, I love the idea of that. I think I may be wrong, but I think it was Matthew Douche from what's the podcast, Legends of Grayskull? I always get the podcast names confused, but Legends of Grayskull. And I think he was talking a few months back about the idea. It may be him. Apologies if it's not. Apologies if it's someone else. But I'm sure he was conversing with me, saying about the idea of having a comic where it would be like a bunch of B-listers, as it were, as a team. Yeah. And I thought, like, oh, what a good idea. But that kind of went. And then when Joe came up with this, I was like, oh, that'd be fun to revisit. So I kind of wrote
because I was like Tyler. I was just like Tyler. I was envisioning, whether it's envisioning watching an episode of Filmation or even looking at a mini comic, I was seeing it. That's what I love. That's what I loved about what you did. It took me back to when we were kids, and sometimes you just had a storybook. And you had, especially, the German audio plays, what they had. They just had to envision everything. But I like that. It's like you were telling a story, and I had to picture this. I wasn't looking at it. I wasn't watching it. But it was just written so well within such a short time. So that was fucking awesome. I love that. That's what I love about the show. It's always so random. Don't know what's going to happen. So, I mean, before we get to a couple of things, I just did want to say for people in the chat, if you had any questions that you wanted to ask to James, Danielle, any of us about anything Masters or anything else, do it right now while you're doing it. Nathan, did you have anything you wanted to say before we get to the chat room?
I want to thank both of them for being on the show this week. And once again, if you guys are late to the live feed, sorry that the cameras got wonky. 5-person show. I knew it was going to do this, so it's okay. I'm surprised they all just, as James Cameron does it again, I'm surprised that these guys didn't try to mess with me and they all just like froze in place and didn't do anything, so I'm like freaking out. Yeah, but thank you both for taking the time out for being on the show with us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. And someone did ask earlier in the chat, James, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, it's nice. It's Vimto, so it's like squash, fruit juice.
Okay. No, I didn't know if it was like some sort of, you mixed it with alcohol or something like that.
No, sometimes
I have my drink.
I was going to say, yeah, she's drinking pee over there.
Yeah.
She's drinking piss. I'm drinking.
Good.
That's good. Is it filtered? He's got to go to the doctor.
Yeah, you should go to the doctor, James.
It was wrong. All right. Well, Adam Gabbert has a question, and you know what? You guys do not have to hold back, and it's for Danielle and James. What are your thoughts on the Fans of Power podcast? I don't know if he means like
they fucking hate it. They hate it. Yeah, that's why they're here right now. They hate it so much.
No, I always like, and that's the thing. I'd like to hear what you guys think about the podcast. I mean, it's a good question from them. So go ahead, either one. You can say you're like, I fucking hate Joe. The rest of everybody on the show, you guys are great.
Well, I'm going to be the most disliked one, Joe. You're polypractical. I'm the one that pisses everyone off.
Well, we'll see. Go ahead, Danielle.
Well, I mean, obviously, I've been on your show several times, so I enjoy your show. I listen to every episode of the show. I do appreciate that you guys, you speak your minds about how you feel about things that you like and things that you dislike, and you're very forthright about your opinion on things, which I think it's important to have that side of things. Granted, it can be quite controversial at times, but that's part of what makes your show unique, I think, is that you're fearless about expressing your opinions. So, yeah. And I enjoy listening to it. Yeah.
Thank you. James, go ahead. You can beat us to shit, whatever you want to say. Go on. He's like, I got nothing.
No, I like echo exactly what Daniel said. I think the key word from head to toe is just honesty. That's it. Like whether it upsets people or causes people to clap in celebration, it's just honesty. You're not worried about, better not upset this representative from Mattel, or better not upset that person. And I've always been someone personally that always not plays it safe, but I'm just like, I don't get too invested to get that bothered about stuff. But at the same time, I'm passionate about certain things. You're able to speak your mind here, and you guys have always done that since day dot. So I think that's the beauty of it. That should be the tagline: Fans of Power. Honesty is what we bring.
But you're not above. No, you bring in the sort of sensational element as well to all of it, so that adds to the flavor of it, because there is a certain the Joe eating spiders and Tyler suddenly comics on fire and things like this that are really over the top. That's why I was like, "Born in Rome," because it's like, might as well do it. That's what you guys do.
But I really want to thank you too I thank Adam for asking that, but it feels so damn good. Like when you guys have reached out to us privately and talked to us about that you listened to it, because it was like, it really meant something that knowing both you all listened to it, which I never really thought like our podcast. Like I know Joe was more well known, but it was such a damn honor to have heard from you all multiple times over the years since we've been doing this. Like when I've had my breakdowns and both you all have, James has reached out. Danielle is like, taught me off the ledge. It's I really appreciate that you guys have had such an impact in the community, but you still like took time to listen to us, hear what we had to say, and told us that you enjoyed it or challenged it at times, or which was great. But I took it seriously because I really respected the hell out of both you all. I mean, for years, like it means a lot that you guys would come on here, that you like talking to us enough to devote your time, and it. I can't thank. I'm stumbling here. I'm getting emotional and shit here.
I'm gonna start crying.
But I promised myself I wouldn't cry here. But I really do. I can't thank you all enough for thinking of us so much and talking to us privately and supporting us as much as you have. So thank you all both.
Oh, no, appreciate it, man.
Oh, dude, the feeling is mutual. Thank you.
See, I need to do
same.
something crazy and off the wall. Like Joe's eating spiders. Tyler,
it was good. The spider wasn't bad. The spider was actually okay. It wasn't bad.
Let
I'm sure
something on.
Worse.
Do what?
I'm sure he's had worse.
I have. I've eaten at a dumpster, so.
Yes.
Joe.
All right. Now we have a question, and this is from Descendants of Grayskull, and I'm assuming this is for James in particular. What would you do differently with the He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special? Because we know your thoughts on that. What would you do differently if you could? Kill the kids? Have them not in the show?
Oh man, what would I do differently? It's a hard one, because I think when you're writing something Christmas themed, it has to be somewhat sickly sweet. But I say that the same.
Don't you do anything bad
to relay?
I love relay.
I'm trying to think. I don't know. I think I wouldn't. My biggest problem with the Christmas special is that it's just so. We're here, we're there, we're here, we're there, we're over there, we're over there, we're now over here, we're over there. It's like a weird, it's a bit of a mess. I don't know.
Change Spike Orr's voice, for one thing.
Say again?
Change Spike Orr's voice in the cartoon.
Oh, God, yeah.
God.
No, I think what I would do is, have He-Man and She-Ra. I'd probably gear towards more having it on Etheria. Now, actually, Eternia is more of a versatile planet. You could have it on Eternia, but you don't have the kids in it at all, and you just treat it as if it's not necessarily celebrating Christmas, because obviously in the Christmas special they're celebrating Adam and Adora's birthday. It just so happens that the Christmas theme rolls into the episode with the kids. But I don't know. I'd get a time machine and make sure that Bob Ford is the only writer on it, I guess, because it's a mess of an episode. But I'll be watching it for Christmas.
So you'd say more machines then? Okay. All right, let's see who's next.
Just relay.
I get the Meteorbs in there. The Meteorbs and the Manchines team up.
We'll be having questions for Danielle and James coming up here, but first for James. This one's from Zentron. Zentron said, James, did you watch the Dungeons & Dragons fan-produced version of Requiem the other month? And if yes, what did you think?
It depends. It's weird. Dusan and I were talking about this. I think we saw like a few versions, but we definitely did look at one. And time has been so kind of. I just haven't had much time for anything recently, so I kind of glanced at it. I think I don't know if I saw it or not. Apologies. Maybe I did. I saw bits of it because I remember Dusan and I talking about it, but I can't remember which one it was. Because the funny thing was, back in the day, back in like 2004, when we were working on the Dungeons & Dragons DVDs, there was a guy in the UK who was animating Requiem from scratch, and I keep getting confused with that one, which obviously doesn't even exist anymore. But sorry, I'm waffling. I don't know if I saw it or not, but if I did, I may have thought it was good. Oh, no.
Okay. All right. This question is for Danielle, and it's from Daniel Karhunen. Question is, Danielle, do you have more Masters of the Universe Classics request videos left to do?
I ended it with a big final 50 video, and there were more characters I would have liked to have gotten to, but I just kind of, when I saw that they announced Masterverse, and it was pretty clear that Classics was being put into hibernation or whatever, and the Masterverse seems to be like the new sequel to Classics. I decided to kind of stop it, and it just, I did quite a few of them, and I think that final 50 video I did, that's like 40 minutes long, that's chock full of characters, kind of covers most of what I wanted to. Yeah. I put a lot. Originally, that was going to be like an hour and a half long when I was putting it together, and I was like, oh my god, nobody's going to sit through an hour and a half wish list video. So I managed to chop it down to like 40 minutes, but I got like all those characters in there. Part of it is like I'm watching, I'm like, oh, we're probably never going to get any of these characters. So sad. Like watching it, like, oh, that's what I loved about Classics, is that it kind of went into all of those different versions of Masters of the Universe, and it really dug deep into the character roster. And I would have liked to have seen stuff like Negator and Malactha and General Tataran and some of those characters.
Well, hey, Danielle, I was going to say, I mean, if done properly, I mean, maybe that's even something you could continue for Origins, hoping that they would make something better for Origins. If that line was to continue, and get better and tweaked, maybe it's something you could do for Origins, possibly.
Right. Well, I wouldn't be able to it wouldn't look right if I've got a Origins General Chatteran and put him on the Classic shelf. Like, it wouldn't fit scale wise. I could put them with the vintage. They scale, I guess the Origins scale okay with the vintage figures. So I'm kind of like, oh, it would be cool if they did like some like Marlene.
Yeah, because like some of them, I mean, I noticed at least with He-Man and Skeletor, it looked like they had a slight height advantage over the vintage figure. Yeah, they're a little bit bigger. Yeah, so, but all right. But thank you for that question, Daniel.
I think if you bend the knees, though, maybe if you bend the knees and put them in that pose, maybe it'll.
Hunch them over. You bend the knees, hunch them over. It's like, hey, they're perfect heights with each other. All right. And Rick Poe did want to say thanks to James and Danielle for coming on the show, and yeah, definitely. I mean, it was a blast having you on. So more questions. Daniel Karhunen had a question for James. Said, how many issues are there going to be of the Masters of the Universe '85 comic?
As many as I guess we can put out, as simple as that. Like, obviously up until recently it was a weekly thing, and then it couldn't be because life. So we'll definitely, there's 2 issues we have to do because that's the first story. So issue 1, issue 2, and then that's the Desira issues. Desira, yeah, and then and then where we go from there, I don't know. But I want to keep doing it. It's just time. It's time and effort. And I think I've said before, one of the slightly disappointing things with Master Universe 85 was week by week I watched it, and as I think I've discussed with definitely Danielle, maybe a couple of years, the interest level just waned, because obviously I think that people want that. I want to read it all now, and I was trying to do this weekly thing of it gives you something to look forward to. The problem with that, and I completely understand, is that you do one page, and then, hey, next Friday, there's the next page. And people go, what happened to the previous one? And it's just like the next page. But I get people having to go back. So I just thought, let me just do the whole first issue, throw it online and go, there's the first issue. And then people go, oh, that's cool. I think that's where it will get more attention, if that makes sense, rather than being this. Yeah, the amount of times on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, I got messages where it's like, where can I read the whole thing? And it's like, well, I haven't done the whole thing yet. We're putting out week by week. And then, obviously, like I say, life got in the way. So one page would be 1 week, and then 2 weeks later, there's another page. It became very, you're trying to tell a story, and it becomes just so protracted. So I thought, just get the first issue done, post it online. Hopefully, I reckon early January, something like that. And they'll be like, there's issue 1. Enjoy.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks, James. Fedmon said, and this is for you, Danielle, just said, Danielle, just wanted to say that he loved your version of Monster Mash this Halloween. So I don't know how I missed that. You're gonna have to link me or tag me. Was that on your Facebook wall or what?
Yeah, I posted it on Facebook. It's it's on YouTube. Thank you very much. Yeah, that was a lot of fun to do that.
I want to check that out. I used to love it. We used to put that record on every Halloween. Oh god, now I'm just starting to sound old, but well, we did. We always put on the Monster Mash record. I used to love that. Simon, oh shit, almost lost my thing. Simon Naylor has something directed at James. Simon said, James, I like the Friday releases of He-Man 85 and Alliance Reborn, but understand and respect deciding to wait to release it all at once due to fan feedback. Can't wait to see it all. So, yeah, so he just want to let you know he loves what you're doing. Can't wait to see what you got more. Definitely. Let me see. I don't know if I missed any because I might have been Nathan. This is where he usually gets me. Nathan, did I miss any? Because, I don't even know. This thing jumped. I forgot to hit that fucking do it live thing.
I've just been concentrating on the cameras if I need to move anything and fix stuff.
Okay, I think that might have been all for now. That might have been everybody. If I missed anything, I just want to apologize. And Adam, the only reason that I did this different look was as an homage to Sting, NWO kind of thing. That's why I did this. So that's why I did it, Adam. Just want to let you know. And I think that's it. But yeah, James, Danielle, it was great having you on. We loved it. Was there anything you want to say in closing? Anything either of you want to promote, whether it's any of your pages or stuff you got going on? You can shoot right now. James like, fuck, I ain't got nothing. I just said I'm doing the fucking 85 comic, Joe. Jesus Christ. How many fucking times you want me to say it? So yeah, all right. Then Danielle, what you got? You got anything going on? Anything you want to promote?
Well, I guess we should pimp that book that we both worked on, Joe. The character guide supplement, which Joe did all the entries for coloring and activity books and things like Faker going to that costume party and
yeah.
that color, like there's definitely some unique. You did some like video game entries and stuff, so it's like
there's a lot of cool shit.
Yeah, it's like that original compendium that the encyclopedia. This is like the sort of the sequel to it, but it's much smaller. But it's an exclusive that's being offered with the toy guide that Pixel Dan and Val did, and it's being sold through the PowerCon website. And the only way to get this sort of sequel to the encyclopedia book is to get the two of them together. It's been difficult, I think, with international shipping outside of the United States because it's very expensive right now to ship outside the U.S. So I think that's being worked on with some like distribution points elsewhere. So stay tuned for that. But I think that's going to be announced on the PowerCon website when that comes around if you're not in the U.S. But it's a very limited book. It has some really deep cut stuff in it from German canons, like German promotional magazines that Sebastian Vogel wrote from Planet Eternia. He researched, did all that. Aiden Cross did Princess of Power mini world book entries. He did a lot of stuff for that, and just some really really unique stuff that is deep cut lore. If you like lore and mythology and characters from Masters of the Universe, it's like really on the obscure end of the spectrum. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there for fans. So definitely check it out.
I had a lot of people. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of people online that when I mentioned that that's the only way they can get it is through PowerCon and with that bundle, because there were people that already pre-ordered just the toy book by itself. But then when they found out that, oh wait, there's a bundle, it was kind of cool. They're like, Joe, I'm canceling my fucking order because now I'm gonna do that. And they weren't just saying, they showed boom pictures. Here, I canceled this order and now I put in an order for the bundle.
I saw that. I saw somebody that was like, oh, that's awesome, because I was really bummed out when Dark Horse solicited that on Amazon, like 2 months before this exclusive deal was coming out. I was like, oh, everybody who wants the toy guide is going to buy that. And then they're like, I'm not going to get 2 toy guides because I already pre-ordered it from Amazon. So it's cool that some people like cancel their orders. I know some people waited on it, but it's like, that supplement, the supplementary thing is like really limited exclusive. And once that's gone, I know on the secondary market, it's going to skyrocket. Like you see, like James's book, the Filmation book is like going for big bucks. The mini comics book, all of that stuff is like, once that goes out of print, it's the value goes up and it becomes really sought after. So get your hands on it if you're interested. If you end up reselling it in a few years, you probably make a lot of money off it too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Either way, they get some good money. So we appreciate all the support that you guys can give. Please just help. I need food. God damn it! I can't just keep getting ramen noodles every fucking. I want something more than ramen. Jesus Christ!
Why is Popeyes chicken?
Oh,
Like,
that, that actually reminds me. So I heard Joe's passionate Popeye's chicken where he bought the thing. There was
Yeah!
3 days. He had it 3 days in a row, which was because you got the bonus like.
Oh,
bits and pieces in it.
21 pieces. Like I said, I mean 20
pieces.
pieces. I got 20 pieces. Like Jesus Christ, I had 3 days worth of food
I-
and only paid for 1 day.
Obviously, we don't have Popeye's chicken over here, but I've had it obviously every time I've been to America. But the first time was in New York. Last day of my holiday in New York in 2009. Went into a Popeye's chicken. I was like, oh, I've always wanted to go on one of these. It was amazing. And then every time I LA since every year I've been to LA, I always end up in a Popeye's chicken at one time, and it's so fucking nice.
It is. See, I'm not the only one. It's like it's like a drug. It's so goddamn good. I mean,
Joe, can you ship me some Popeye's chicken? I'm sure it will survive mail.
yeah, it'll be all molded by the time it comes here. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm still gonna eat that.
They just come back to life.
It has a bite taken out of it because Joe was hungry, so he took a bite before he said no.
Like, you know, to get mine, James. Here you go. Heavy piece.
I legit need to reach out and see if Popeyes can just become a sponsor or something. As much as we talk about it on the show.
God, that'd be awesome. Them and the Dollar Tree. I'd be supporting. I'd have food from Popeyes and Dollar Tree for the rest of my life. That'd be great. That's all I need. So, this was a great episode, guys. And I did want to say for anybody new to the channel that's here watching right now, because I've seen Simon Naylor had a question about when's the next show. Well, we usually do it at 9 p.m. Eastern time every Sunday night. This one was a little earlier because of James with the time zone difference. But that's why I always say I'm going to say this little spiel right here. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live, because it might not be at Sunday at 9 p.m. Might be a different day, just like when me and Nathan did an early episode this week. Definitely. Fans of Power. That's right. Represent James.
Buy
and
the
until
shirt.
Next time.
Buy the shirt.
Okay. Yes. Buy them. No.
James, go get Orko. That's how we finish the show.
Oh,
go
yeah.
get Orko. There we go.
Walk off Orko, end it, and then maybe we'll get a question or a trivia from Tyler. We got to do that. He's gonna do that. He's gonna be doing the whacking off Orko while
jerking off.
exactly. He's asking a question, and Orko's over there doing like, what the hell is going on?
Daniel's drinking pee over there. Like I can't get that. You know, there we go.
So there we go. So jacked up.
So,
There we go.
turn that into a GIF where you got to do the hand motion, James. You got to do it. You got to have Orko do it.
I'm gonna be in shot. No, I'm not in shot.
You're in the shot. You're in the shot.
Orko's in the shot.
There we go. See that again.
Oh no.
I don't what I hate the most is that my face is
There it
above
is.
all of this happening on the screen. So
It's gonna get you right in the eye. Oh my God, this is terrible.
Where did that Orko come from? Is that did somebody
He's
make
got
that?
sticky fingers.
Oh.
Oh, it's a reference to the pirate too.
I'm done. I don't even know what to do. That's it. See you next time.
He actually did pretty well. So only the face got jacked up.
No.
Yeah, that